It's my third video of the day. It's almost 11 at night. Let's do it. Okay, so today, you guys might remember my exposed video that I did recently. I wanted to do something kind of similar to that, but kind of more of a funny version of it, because I realized that there are things in my cosplay photos, you know, behind the scenes tidbits that you may not know that are actually like really funny and ridiculous, and I want to share some of those today. I don't really have a game plan necessarily, like I'm just going to go through my Instagram and find some photos and tell you things. Okay, so right off the bat, we have Yuri. This is a recent post, so we'll start with this one. So a fun fact about this photo, her bangs have that little like V in them, which like normally you would use hairspray. On that particular day of TsukinoCon, I didn't have hairspray with me that weekend. So I'm like, I guess I'll have to just part it and kind of hope it stays throughout the day. When I was setting my makeup, just kind of in the moment, like I sprayed my face and I just kind of like slicked it into my bangs, just like, you know, it's not hairspray, but I don't know, you do like weird spur of the moment things. And it actually stayed throughout the whole day. So my bangs in that photo are being held in place by setting spray. Then we have Kylie. We have this photo that I got in front of the actual Ghostbusters firehouse, which is very cool and definitely like an entire cosplay story in and of itself. That whole day is a cosplay story in and of itself, but just as a quick tidbit to kind of, you know, wet your whistle, I'm completely drenched in that photo. When you look at it, you cannot tell, but I am completely drenched in water in that photo. I'm not going to tell you why, because I'm going to do a full cosplay story time about it, but fun little tidbit. Yuri again. Okay, that classroom that we're shooting in, first of all, that's edited. Unfortunately, we did not find the Doki Doki classroom in real life, but that classroom is actually a university classroom. TsukinoCon takes place at UVic. So that is an actual, authentic, not high school classroom, but a university classroom. The rooms kind of in that vicinity had been rented out for TsukinoCon, but a lot of the building was still not related to TsukinoCon.
You know, good vending machine, you'll never be You're just like your father.
Oh my gosh, that was like an actual student. That was a normal guy who just walked past me as I cursed at a vending machine. So that's really good. So I saw this empty classroom and I was like, oh, do you think we can shoot in there? And my friend, she goes to the school, so she's like, I'm allowed to be here no matter what. And you just happen to be with me. So it's fine, you're not gonna get in trouble, don't worry. But even then, I was kind of antsy throughout the photo shoot because I was very worried that maybe we were gonna get kicked out. But we were allowed to be there. But either way, that was a real university classroom and we managed to get some really, really awesome photos. We crashed a classroom to get Doki Doki photos. Our Kim Possible photos. First of all, I cannot believe that I only posted like 2 photos from this shoot maybe, and it was an amazing shoot. One of like my favorite shoots of all time. Fun fact, we were all so awkward during that shoot. None of us could really take each other seriously. It was really hard to take like really serious, like action-y photos. I think it ended up actually being like a 3-hour shoot, but it really like breezed by. We didn't know it was 3 hours until some friends told us, hey, you were shooting for 3 hours, you know? Part of why it took so long was because we all just felt really awkward around one another. Because obviously we're supposed to be like enemies and we're supposed to be fighting each other, but like a lot of the time it was just so difficult for us to like be serious at one another because all 3 of us, Deacon, who was Dragon, Alex, who was Shigo, and then me, we're all like massive meme lords. So 90% of that shoot was us dabbing at one another and like squatting and doing the prayer pose. I automatically do those things when I feel super awkward. So whenever like we felt awkward during the shoot, we were just like dabbing at one another. So the photos might look kind of like serious, but it was a stretch for us to get there. It was a stretch for us to be serious. Tracer and d.v.a. All right, in this photo, as you can see, there is a boat there. It might look like it is just parked there. It is not just parked there. It was actually sailing by when we were doing this shoot, and the people on board were very confused. And my dad actually has a shot where you can see their expressions, and it's just such a bewilderment. Like, can you imagine being on like your fancy boat and then you see like these 2 weirdos taking photos on the bridge? Ingrid. So this photo shoot actually happened around one of my old elementary schools, and it was during the summer. This was taken during July of that year. And so I thought that there would be no kids on the school grounds because obviously they're going to be out of school. That was not the case. We were in this spot where the photo was taken, and to the left there's a door that leads into this like out of school care club place. if that makes sense. Basically, behind those doors, there were these kids doing some sort of summer camp or workshop or class, and they let out right while we were shooting right there. So there are all these kids coming out seeing me dressed like this, which like no 2018 child is gonna know who Ingrid is, sadly, because Disney has never re-released it, which still salty about. That's a whole video for another time. So there are these kids seeing this, and like my dad's girlfriend is holding the reflector, my dad's taking photos, so it's this big like spectacle, and all these kids are seeing it. And I just remember this little girl walking out and being like, what's going on? Why are they doing this? And the mom's like, oh, she's getting her photo taken. And then later on, we were taking a different photo on a staircase, and there were these boys laying by the staircase, and they were like, I think deliberately like getting into the photo. My dad had to like try and shoo them away because they were just being like really intrusive, actually. They just wanted to be mischievous, I guess. That's what happens when you shoot at an elementary school. Ooh, okay, an old Ruby photo. This is a good one. Okay, so this was taken out at a water tower, which is like cool in and of itself, but this was a very uncomfortable shoot for two main reasons. First of all, it was like the hottest friggin' day. It was in the middle of summer. I do have a vlog from this one as well, but it was in the middle of summer. It was like, I can't even tell you how hot it was. Like, look at what I'm wearing in this photo. I'm not wearing a lot, but I was unbearably warm. And the other thing was that we started by the water tower and then we went into like this forest that was next to it. And there were mosquitoes everywhere, like everywhere. And I probably got some of the worst mosquito bites of my life. I had mosquito bites like all the way down my legs. That is definitely the most mosquito bites I've ever gotten in one day. It was not a good time. So please know that we suffered for these photos, and I hope it was worth it. Sans and Papyrus. As you can see in this photo, we're lying on grass. And that was grass that was like in the middle of this park. There's kind of this slight hill in that park. And so while we were shooting, we thought, oh, maybe it'd be nice for us to like sit on this little grassy mound and take photos together. And then later on, we ended up doing this lying down shot, which is very, very cute. So we go there and there were people like sitting like around that area. But like, obviously we weren't gonna get anybody in the photos, right? So we sit down and like immediately people in like the surrounding area, all of them got up and left. Like they were out. I think we freaked them out. I guess dressing up as skeletons, you freak people out. That's what we learned that day. The other thing that happened that particular day, we have photos on a pier. And when we were walking on that pier, we were walking onto it. And then this little girl was walking off of it. And she was very young. She was maybe in elementary school. And as she walks by, she's like, oh yes, Sans and Papyrus. And we're so shocked because like it's very cute, but she's like an elementary school kid, which like obviously like Undertale, as long as you're doing the pacifist route, it's definitely fine for all ages, but we just did not expect a child this small to know like remotely who we were cosplaying, but she did, and she was very excited to see us, and it was very cute and very heartwarming. We kind of looked at each other like, oh my gosh, this is the last cosplay we expected to delight a small child in, but here we are. Okay, and then I'll leave us off on this photo. So we have my friend who was the Sans in my previous photo, who's being casual diva, and then I was casual tracer. So we met this Soldier 76. We're friends with him now. We didn't know him at the time. This was actually how we met. We're walking down these stairs at the convention center and we see this Soldier 76 and I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to get a photo with him. And so we go up and we're like, hey, can we get a photo together? Because like, you look awesome. And he's like, oh yeah, and he grabs his gun and everything. And I'm like, it would be nice to do like a family portrait type photo, but I'm not really sure how we would do that. So I'm looking at my friend, I'm like, how would we do that? So we're trying to kind of like figure it out. And while we're doing that, the Soldier 76 pauses for a second and then hands his gun to his friend, stands between us and like plops his hands on our heads. And he was very, very careful. He was very careful like not to crush any of my spikes. And I was just like living in that moment. I was like, oh my gosh, the Overwatch family is real. Dad 76 is here and I am living for this, and I still just like love this photo. Like you can see it on my face. I was just like so thrilled in that moment. Dad 76 is here. I loved it so much. It was just so funny. And he knew exactly what to do and exactly how to make this a nice family portrait. So anyway, those are some funny backstories to some of my cosplay photos. If I think of more, I will do another video like this some other time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys have any such stories that you would like to share, please, by all means, post on Instagram, make a YouTube video, whatever. It would be really cool if this became somewhat of a tag. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. Please stay well. Please stay safe. I'll see you guys all next time. Until then, Panda Faces, please be sure to take care. Bye!